What's up, Buffs Nation, and welcome into Buffs News Weekly and Buff Blitz with my co-host David Talks Buffs. And welcome to this Wednesday night pre-Thanksgiving episode. David, how's your night going? How's your week been going? What you got going on?
Week's been good. Things outside of Buffs been going good. Being a Broncos fan's a great time right now. Being a Buffs fan right now, we're in need of some good news. And I guess, hey, congratulations to Marshall Faulk being named head coach
Yes.
for Southern. That's awesome, and he has quite a rebuild over there at Southern as well. So, that's going to be fun to track and all that, man. So I guess if there's one big thing to be thankful of today, it's that Coach Faulk is getting to do what he wants to do, and that's be the head coach at Southern. I understand that he interviewed a few years ago for this as well, so I'm glad he's got the opportunity that he wanted. That's always exciting.
Yeah, I mean, really good for him. I think when you and I have talked over the last several weeks, he's one of the few guys that we were like, if he could stick around, that'd be great. Get a chance to actually recruit that position. It's unfortunate, that he's going to be gone. We didn't get to see, what he could do with his recruiting chops, so to speak. But coaching wise, absolutely has done a fantastic job, I believe, at the running game, improving the running game overall, and really doing something with that running back room for the Buffs. I think now at this point, Dave, and we can get into this at some point today too, if we want to, as we talk about that. But I don't think there's really a coach on this staff that I would be mad now at this point losing. And you have to wonder whoever does become the OC, if they get to actually maybe select some of the coaches on this staff moving to next year.
Yeah, if they all get fired or if they all go somewhere else, I really wonder, hey, can we keep the 10 recruits we got committed? Another coach that I would like to see stick around is Gunnar White, but hey, I understand if we bring in a new OC and he wants to hire his own guys, I understand that. I just hope, man, we can really sell the program and keep the few high school guys that we got that want to be Buffs, keep them as Buffs. So, yeah, to me, man, after you go, I mean, unless we get some miracle this week, which, I mean, we will be rooting for. It's a three-win football team. And I like – I think pretty much all these coaches got to go. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, we need a full reboot if we're being completely honest. It's what's needed. I mean, again, we keep hearing all the stuff from Coach Prime. We'll see if it's all talk or if it's all real, but changes are coming is what he has said now for multiple weeks. So we got to hope that it's coming, and we got to hope that, it's going to be an interesting few weeks, I think, when it comes to our Buffs and what's happening. And part of the reason that we're not really going to talk about the Kansas State game this week is because of, how pointless that game is now. David, we finally got the official word from Coach Prime in the press conference this week, which is, it sparked conversations, controversy, all sorts of things. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on Julian Lewis not playing this weekend, redshirting, for the week or for the season, getting to keep that red shirt year after all. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's a good move, and who do you think it truly benefits when it comes to the red shirt?
Well, this is something that we've talked about all year, but I think I started out more so of like, hey, you just redshirt them, right? That makes sense. Keep 4 more years of eligibility to really build this thing. And, I still kind of remain in that camp, like cool about it. Now, once Brian Howell, some of these other like real college reporters start talking about, hey, this 5-for-5 rule might be a thing here very soon, the red shirt, it probably won't even matter during Julian Lewis's career, then I can buy, okay, maybe it's not a huge deal of, when we decided to name him starter and when he was going to play games. Maybe the whole Delaware thing, the musical chairs over there, like it's not that big of a deal. Now, it sucks because essentially you sacrificed a few drives against Delaware for having the opportunity to play the whole game against the Kansas State Wildcats and finish the season on a positive note. Kansas State isn't very good either. And I think if Julian Lewis is playing this game, I think that this could be a close game. I think it could be a closer game than some people expect. And I think we'd legitimately have an opportunity to win with him at quarterback. But I thought that this would come down to Julian Lewis and his decision. It's kind of interesting that Coach Prime is saying that this was his. I don't know, man. Like I find it interesting that there doesn't seem to be like a lot of conversation between Julian and his family when it came to the plan this year, or if there was a plan. I ultimately don't think that this is going to be a factor in, like, I think people blowing this up saying, hey, way to piss off Julian Lewis, he might jump in the portal. I don't think it's that level of a decision where it would change course on what he's doing, and that is coming back to CU. But it does kind of feel a little mismanaged, but mostly what I'm more upset about is less about that, because I can understand him redshirting, and that gives him another full 4 years to make revenue off this. Why the hell are we starting Kane Salter? I don't know about this game. Why the hell are we rewarding him and starting this game? Why not? Why is it not stop? Why is it not Dominic Ponder? I'll even say that. I'd rather see Ponder than see Salter out there again. It just, man, I'm like flaccid going into this game, dude. Like, that's
yeah. I have no juice at all going in this game, but I mean, when I heard it, I mean, I talked about it last week because we asked the question in the post game, Dave, once we lost that game, is there really a point in playing Julian Lewis in that last game? And I said that it would be in the best interest of everyone involved, Julian Lewis, the team, his group, for him not to play, and I like Prime's comments because what it really said was just, what I think I believe, which is Julian Lewis is a competitor. Who wants to sit out a game? I don't know anybody in sports that says, hey, I want to sit out a game and not play. So I could see that. I think what it does, though, too, and I said this online on Twitter when it happened, I think it's a nice move on all parties because it protects Julian Lewis and his camp as well, because it allows him to come back next year. And if for some reason Colorado is not, up to snuff, there's no turnaround, there's no improvement, things aren't looking like they're going in the right direction. Heck, Coach Prime doesn't return for whatever reason after next year. It gives Julian Lewis an out to still have 3 years to go and actually work in a new system. Because, 1 or 2 years at a new school may not be as beneficial to him as 3 years at a new school. So at least he saves that. On top of that, you get potentially 4 years at Colorado if, he needs all that time, if he wants to hang around and see what it does. So overall, I think it's a win-win-win. I can see why Julian Lewis, the kid, is probably mad, but I can also see why Julian Lewis's family, Coach Prime, Julian Lewis's agent would all be happy with him sitting out for a meaningless game at that point. So I can kind of get it, but agreed. I don't know why we're getting Salter again. I get that it's his last, career college game. That might be the only thing that you're trying to do right by. But at this point, I would have loved to have said, hey, we're going to let Ponder get a chance to play and get some tape and, be able to promote his career, whether that's at Colorado or whether that's, hitting the transfer portal and getting to go somewhere else.
This is what I don't get, man. We put Ronald Coleman in the game last week. Why are we not putting Dominic Ponder in the game this week?
I mean, that's my big question.
Show respect. Show respect to what, dude? That's what I don't get, dude. In the NIL era, man, there is no more of this.
It's true. Caden Salter has made, it's pretty much been confirmed, $800K just for the year to do what he did. Like, I don't know if anybody needs to, be mad about K-Salt or whatever he's got going on, okay? So there's that side of it too. But, hey, at this point, though, let's just be honest. the game is pointless. There's no reason for us to really care. There's not even like any fun things to see about that game. Besides maybe just the last hurrah for a couple of guys like an Arden Walker, maybe, who's at least, been a pretty true Mr. Buff for Colorado in his last chance. But that's where we're at right now. That's where we're at right now. And I would not be surprised, David, if this game is just not close. It's not fun. It's not even a game that we want to care about at this point.
You don't even want to know the score prediction I gave on Cocaine Willie. I guess we'll the KSU podcast. I'll save that for the end.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to hear it. As we go, like we just talked about. So we've talked about the Marshall Faulk news. We've talked about Julian Lewis redshirting. Of course, there's the little bit of tidbit that Adam Munster-Tiger threw out, of course, on the forum over at I can't remember what it's called, but
over at
Buffs
Buff
Inside.
Stampede.
Yeah, Buff Stampede.
Yeah.
Thank you. His words, which again, I'm not blowing up. I don't think it's a big deal. Is that, Jordan Seaton is going to have to be re-recruited. Now, the way I take that, Dave, and you tell me if you're along the same lines, I think every player has to be re-recruited in the age of NIL and the age of the transfer portal. I'm not surprised that he has to. On top of that, we've gotten a little bit of information this year. Jordan Seaton does have a new agent that's kind of pushing some things on his side anyway. So to me, it makes sense that we'd have to re-recruit him. What I did like about that comment that I don't think anybody's talking about is he confirmed that a lot of the young guys are sticking around, which is what we want to hear. To me,
that's some good news.
That was a positive message from Adam Munster-Tiger. It was like a no duh with Jordan Seaton and so the young guys are sticking around. Not had he said like, you're going to be surprised at some of the young guys that are going to hit the portal, that might have been a little bit more red flag. What do you have to say with what he had to say about what's going to happen here in the next couple of weeks?
I mean, if there's one player from this team that legitimate program should want, it's Jordan Seaton. So with Adam to put that out there, he's trustworthy. He's always sourced. He doesn't report things that he doesn't have confirmed across, multiple sources. So I do find it noteworthy that he said that. I think that it is this isn't something that that Colorado should just take for granted that he's coming back. And I think if I'm Jordan Seaton, if I'm in his shoes, I want any other offer that I'm getting to be matched by CU if they truly want me back. I mean, we've talked about the leadership void this year with CU. So he's probably the biggest leader we got on the team right now. He's the face of the program. I still think he's above Julian Lewis right now in that regard. And hey, you want to talk about selling the program in terms of come to Colorado and, have the opportunity to play. How soul crushing would that be for the program and for Coach Prime than to see Jordan Seaton declare to go to the NFL draft under the school Oregon or Ohio State or Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, all these other schools, Florida. I would be disgusted. So this is something to where, again, I don't know, obviously, who's talking to Adam, but I do take this. I don't take this as like just nonchalant news. I think that CU, this is an alarm to CU that, hey, he's not gone, but like you need to make a strong push to keep him around. And I think we can, but having this attitude of, oh, you're going getting other offers, whatever, we don't need you. No, man, that's not going to work, and it shouldn't work. If this is family, you got to show love to your family too. And hey, there's money to be found. Can Coach Prime and Rick George and company go and get it? That's going to be the question. But I think, again, like if you're trying to build something, letting Jordan Seaton walk out the door is a failure, setting you up for failure for next year.
To Northside's comment, and somebody else said the same thing. There is money getting opened up. I mean, we just talked about Caden Salter getting 800K. We know that like a guy like Jaheim Otis was getting 800K this year. The three players that we have an idea of what they're getting: Julian Lewis, Caden Salter, Jaheim Otis. Those are the only players that we've at all heard at all what they're making. The rest of them, we have no clue. It's all speculation at this point. But the fact is, you don't just let a franchise left tackle walk out of your team that's been starting for 2 years on your roster.
Dude, with Julian Lewis. Yeah.
You're not doing that next year. You do that, Julian Lewis is walking too. I'm sorry. You don't just go get those guys on trees, okay? We have a known commodity at left tackle that is one of the best left tackles in the entire country. You do not let him walk out that door. You just don't.
But can you help me make sense with this, Russ? Because I feel like I'm just hearing conflicting explanations all over the place, and I'm trying to parse like what the truth is, and it's hard for me to figure it out. So when we rewind back to the spring, talking about Prime's extension, it was talked about a lot how one of the holdups with Coach Prime's extension was that he wanted more budget allocated towards players. Okay. So we hear that, all right?
Yep.
We give Prime the extension, okay? We bring a bunch of guys in the portal, but then when it comes to high school recruiting, we hear, oh, we don't have the money to get high school guys. But then when Coach Prime's on the mic, he's saying, we're not really going to focus on high school because 50% of those guys will leave anyways. And, we're going to allocate our budget for the portal. In what world are high school players more expensive than transfer portal players? Like, I understand, like, the pressure is on. You want to win. Like, it seems like, hey, you're going to go down swinging in the portal again this year, or like you're going to risk it all. So, hey, you're either going to be the champion or go down swinging, right? But it's not like this narrative that there's not money. I just don't think that that's the case. It's very clear that we're not putting money into high school recruiting, and we're going to put money into the transfer portal. How much money out of that transfer portal budget do we need to take to retain some of our guys? That's truly something I'm wondering. But yeah, everyone just wants to say it's the same thing when he took over at the end of 2022. We have no money. We're in a very different place now. But I still just hear all the same excuses that we got no money.
We have money. I've heard that from multiple people. There is money there. Do we have an unlimited budget? Are we a Texas A&M, an Ole Miss? These schools that are literally, I mean, they are spending, probably 30, 40, 50 million dollars a year on the team that they're putting together. No, we don't have unlimited budget, but we have budget. We have money to spend. I think part of the problem is it's just who we spend our money on. I mean, Prime did at least admit that to an extent. Yeah. I mean, he missed. They missed on players. It didn't go well. That didn't happen. The fact is that, they want to go after specific players. I would say, Dave, you're probably right. I don't think in a lot of cases high schoolers are going to be as much as portal players, but unless Prime is just going after like the top 50 guys in the country, those guys are probably going to cost an arm and a leg, because you're talking about multiple year deals that are going to cost a lot more, I could see, than transfer portal players, which, yes, as a mercenary, you're getting a 1 year, 2 year deal that's probably worth less in total. Okay. There's that side of it, but I agree. And I'm waiting to see, because Prime said, he's still on that 15 to 17 guys. We're not even close to 15, 17 guys out of high school this year. So I don't know where he's getting that number again this year, unless we magically pull 7 guys out of a hat in the next week. But I don't see that happening this year. So I wish he would answer that question. I wish somebody had followed up with that and said, okay, you said 15 to 17. I get that. But if we're living and breathing by what you say, you got 10 right now, with a potential, at least one other kid that might flip before, the end of the week. Where are you getting these 7 guys? Is there for sure 7 guys on their way at minimum? That's going to be frustrating to me, because that does mean that this year will be even more portal heavy than we've seen in the past. I mean, we're going back probably to 2023 as far as how many we're going to have to add at this point. And then the question is, who are you adding? Because you have to add so many, the budget is not going to be there for it if you do have to spend that much on all starters. That's going to be another question that I'm very interested to see. Dave, at this point, I wish the NIL era, I wish that college football would be more transparent with the money.
I know, dude. Give us a lot more like real info to like analyze with. All this is just speculation.
Contracts. I want contracts. I think everybody in college football wants contracts. I don't think there's a single person in college football that would not say that they would not be okay with official contracts, with buyouts and things like that for players, because it helps the fans be more connected to these players. I mean, you've got news like, I mean, hey, we can enjoy this, but it sounds like Dylan Raiola is not going to be staying at Nebraska after all. That very well could be us in a year, Dave, with Juju. Like, I think we are on the same trajectory with Dylan Raiola. What's happening at Nebraska, which I could have seen coming, he freshman year, the team believed in him. Sophomore year, he believed in the team to turn it around. And what happens? Nebraska doesn't do what they need to. They're not retaining the players. They're not going after. I mean, they're quiet in recruiting compared to other schools too. We're not the only ones. And now look what happens. Their star quarterback is now potentially looking at jumping ship. I think that could be us in a year if we don't make the right moves and things don't look better next year. So all of the moves that we're going to see this offseason are going to put Colorado on the trajectory for whether or not a Coach Prime tenure is actually going to happen long term, or whether we're only seeing one more year with Prime. But I think that's where we're at, is we're at minimum next year is make or break for everything with this program.
I think so too, especially with the new athletic director coming in. So yeah, dude, I mean, this is crazy, man. When going back 3 years, I never thought that our roster would be in this sort of place 3 years into this thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping after Kansas State we're gonna see all these changes that he's talked about. But yeah, it needs to be about action and not necessarily always the words that he's saying, dude. Like honestly, Russ, man, I wonder, we brought in, was it 5-6 visitors this past weekend? All, I think, with an opportunity to like close on these guys. But dude, that's showing in the second half. Dude, I wonder if that Ronald Coleman decision lost us like
I guarantee it did.
Dude, out of that.
I guarantee it lost us that. I guarantee that immediate, like Marshall Faulk probably immediately went on the phone with Southern and was like, please get me out of here at this point, because I'm not making that decision. You saw his face on the sideline. Like, I'm pretty sure that was not a Marshall Faulk. I mean, Prime did say, came out and said it was his decision. So there is that. We have to believe what he has to say. But that decision could not have done well with anyone out there in college football world at all. I don't care who you are, but to the other point too that I want to say, because a lot of people I've seen in the comments have said Prime's not firing anybody. Everybody's saying fire everyone. David, tell the people at home why Prime isn't going to fire everyone, but that doesn't mean that the staff is saying the same for next year, because people just keep forgetting that there are things in the coaching world such as contracts.
Yeah. I think most of our assistants were on 1-year deal, so it's just about deciding to bring them back or not. Yeah, Pat Shurmur. I think most of the offensive staff. I can't remember if it was reported if Gunnar White was on a 1-year or 2-year deal. I can't remember if that was ever talked about. But yeah, usually these position coaches are more so on a year-by-year basis. So you got the opportunity to finish out the season with them and then decide if you want to retain them for next year or just replace them, man. But yeah, like there's going to be people gone. I do wonder, man. I do wonder if we're ever going to get some news and notes on when this, supposed new recruiting staff's going to be coming in. Yeah, the fact that we're swinging and missing on all these guys that we brought in last week, it makes me feel like we still got the same recruiting staff still so far. Maybe they'll finish out the cycle, which, I mean, I don't know how y'all feel about that. And then we'll move on from them after January. But man, it's hard for me to see with dude, I do believe a lot of the talk that people have said about how like Prime's been let down and embarrassed, I think, by a lot of these assistants and these coaches. And I think he sees that too. I would like to think so. Yeah, will we see a few coaches probably retained on staff? I think so, but I think there will be more turnover, especially with offensive coordinator. And I got no leads on who's going to be OC, but I'm just hoping, man, there's somebody qualified that has a vision for an identity of the offense. And hopefully Robert Livingston gets, the leash to hire some of his own assistants as well.
Yeah, and again, I will go to that every single time. Like I have said it over and over again. I have so many people who are like, "You're not a Prime fan or whatnot," or "You guys what?" Like that's not it at all. I've literally said multiple times over the last several weeks that the biggest issue that I think Prime found out this season, and it was a wake up call, was him being out those 4 to 5 months. He was let down by his staff that he had assembled. Guys that he thought he could trust. He found out very quickly he couldn't trust, and there's nothing you can do at that point. There's nothing you can do. But I'm going to give it the extra year. I'm 100%. I am not going to scream and shout that Prime should be fired right now. Not only that, he can't be fired. So anybody that wants to say that is just not paying attention. That is not going to happen, because then we wouldn't even field a team next year because the buyout alone that we would have to pay Coach Prime this year. He gets another year. He gets a pass because of the off season that he had last year. Okay, I'm giving him a pass. It's not going to be easy. If he's able to put something together, Dave, and heck, get this team to 6-7 wins next year, like that is going to be a miracle in and of itself with what's about to happen.
Yeah. And again, like if Prime was still on his original contract, right? That 5-year, $30 million deal, or a little under $30 million, maybe maybe my level of frustration isn't as high as what it is right now, when at the time you become a top 10 paid coach in college football. There's the expectation when that happens that a 9-4 season is something that you build on. And the fact that we weren't able to capitalize on that at all this year, that sucks. And it is concerning, and he's at fault for that. The staff's at fault for that. The program. It doesn't ever seem like, dude, we can ever build year after year. It's insane, man, how we can't ever build on success. So yeah, we'll see what we bring in the portal. Apparently, what money we have, it's being put towards that. So we'll see how it goes.
And to this comment, like he'll need more than 6 to 7 wins. We're a 3-win team this year, and we're about to lose like 40 plus kids. Like, I'm sorry to say, but this is the blow up year. Next year's rebuilding. We just need to see improvement from this year. You can't all of a sudden go from a 3-win team with nobody on the roster to all of a sudden Big 12 champions just like that. Like, could he do it? Yeah, he absolutely could. Coaches have done that. Indiana technically did that with Signetti. I don't think that's the case. We got to be realistic, next year.
Yeah. It's almost like you got to reset expectations, dude, after going through this year. It sucks. I would like to talk about winning the Big 12 and all those sorts of things, but a lot has to happen for me to get on that train of thinking that we can pull in Arizona State or something like that going into next year. The expectations have changed. I think that, as long as we're improving, that's going to be, I think generally that will keep people happy. Dude, I will be thrilled if we get 6 wins next year.
I love this though. Because we're just supposed to blindly just say, yeah, everything's great, everything's perfect. He doesn't need to make a single change.
Hey, making moves. Let me tell you, man, this feels exactly like it did right now with Carl Durrell, except more people are paying attention.
Yeah, we're more in the spotlight. We're not again. We're literally saying we support Prime.
Let me teach you a thing or two about how to be a fan. And that's knowing the history past, last year, dude. Like, we know what losing looks like. And sadly, it's got a lot of the same vibes right now.
But this is the point, guys. We lost a Heisman winner and a top quarterback, you were bound to take a step backwards in a sense. I mean,
Yeah.
really, if we were being
Yeah.
realistic, we were bound to take a step back after that. I mean, a lot of colleges have that happen.
Yeah.
And their coaches, it takes a second to rebuild it back up. I mean, again, we live in a society now of immediate gratification. I mean, somebody else said it. Coach McCartney was 1-11 in his third year. It happens with coaches. I think part of the problem right now in our society is we are too quick to say, let's have it down. And I've been very shocked at some of the moves that I see college football teams making. And it's the teams that are making the moves constantly, where it's like, you have some success, things are looking better. You have one bad year, okay, you're gone. You're fired. You're no longer allowed to be a part of this. It has to be perfect every single year. Every single year, you need to be winning, 10 to 12 games. It needs to be perfect. I'm fine with it. I don't know what everybody is like. It's crazy what's happening right now with like.
You can have a down year. Like, that's totally fine. What I expect, and again, with this contract extension as well that came out, the one thing that I expect is for the bottom not to fall out, dude. You had multiple games where you're losing by like 40 points, dude, giving up 50 plus points, multiple games. Yeah. Again, you just got stuff that negatively, it's like one step forward, two steps back with the product on the field. And that is something that, Coach Prime is going to have to write this. All it takes is a hire that is seen as really strong with the offensive coordinator role, I think, to change this. All it takes is, hey, Jordan Seaton's agent putting out, we've reached an agreement for Jordan Seaton to return to Colorado, officially putting that whole thing to bed, like you see with some other star players. All it takes are a couple things to start getting the momentum, getting back in the right place. Yeah.
Super chat from John. And I do appreciate this question. And again, I've always talked about it. I love having people respectfully disagree and bring their own opinions to this. That's the whole point of us doing this, is it's fan chat. But how can next year be a rebuild if they don't bring in, roughly 20 freshmen to lay a foundation? That's a good part to it, because I don't think Prime wants a 2 or 3 year rebuild. I think he tries to be competitive every single year. I think that's his goal. And unfortunately, the problem with that you're going to see happen every now and then, again, which is why I do believe in Coach Prime and why I'm fine with it and why I'm not calling for him to be fired, even though people in the chat think I am calling him to be fired or something. I have no idea. But he wants to try and win every year. That's why he's saying, portal or not. He doesn't want to bring in a bunch of freshmen who are going to leave. He doesn't want to have to wait 2 to 3 years for a freshman to develop, because most of the time they end up leaving before they develop. I get that to an extent. Yeah. Unfortunately, the problem is, guys, he can't do that at this point. At this point, if you're blowing up the team at this point in the year, your 2026 recruiting class is kind of moot and point now. You have to blow it up. That's why I said 6 to 7 wins would be a good season to me, because we're going to have a tough time getting high schoolers this year. Now, if you improve to 6 or 7 wins and things are trending in the right direction and Julian Lewis looks really good, 2027 class might explode, and you might get guys who want to come here and play with Julian Lewis. Yes. And then you've got a repeat of what you did with Shador as the foundation and what you did with Travis and what that looked like. So that's what I think is kind of happening. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, again, you got to be realistic with what you got right now. Really, the portal is our only option this late in the game. I wish we could go find 15 guys over the next week from high school, but it just doesn't even seem like that's the focus right now. So you hit it. Hopefully you hit it better in the portal this year than you did last year. Hopefully we got some new eyes evaluating that talent. We'll have to see. And if we can get back to bowl eligibility next year, I think that sells you on where the program is going. The key is that we need to show progress. If the thing bottoms out next year again, that's tough. Like, how it's so easy for other schools to recruit against you, man, if this is going to be the product. But again, you make one solid hire at OC. You give Robert Livingston a little bit more autonomy with putting together his staff, I really do feel like, hey, we might not have the most talented roster next year, but can we be much better coached? If that's possible, then you can be competitive and get to a bowl game. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. Is the schedule harder next year, man? I know we play Florida, right? Oh, good Lord. We play Florida non-conference. I'm terrified of that right now.
Hold on, I'll pull up the schedule next year.
Yeah.
And what teams we've got to do. Okay, so our actually no, Florida's not next year, Dave.
Oh, okay.
We're a couple years away from that. No, next year's actually not terrible. It's just the fact that we're on the road a little bit more.
Well, that's right. We got Georgia Tech here.
We're at Georgia Tech.
Oh, because we were home this year.
Yes, yeah. Home and home with Georgia Tech ends next year. We're at home against Weber State. And then we're on the road at Northwestern, of all teams, in the non-conference schedule. That's our 3 non-conference games this upcoming year. And then we've got our normal Big 12 schedule, with some difficult games that we're going to have to deal with. But I mean, it's going to be roughly the same schedule that we had this year, if I'm being honest. So, that's where we're at. I think overall it could be considered easier. Just depends on what those teams do next year that we're playing. We'll see what Oklahoma State does with a new coach and a new system. Are they able to rebuild quickly from what they've had? Who knows what happens with a Kansas State? What happens with Arizona State next year? I mean, does Arizona State lose Sam Leavitt? I mean, there's a lot of rumors out there of guys leaving and packing up out of the Big 12 and not much coming in. So could the Big 12 get easier? Potentially.
Tech might get better.
But Texas Tech might get better. That's for sure. Absolutely. If they've got the money, they're going to be adding a ton of players there.
They're trying to make that SEC bid down the
line. What
I
did like hearing Coach Prime say, though, in his presser is when it comes to the portal, we are going to focus on the defense. And that is something that I think we've been missing because let's be honest, playmakers Colorado gets. No matter what, they seem to get playmakers. We have the playmakers returning on this team. Can we figure out the defense so that we don't have the issues that we did this year? Like, I'll give half of it to coaching, half of it to personnel. We didn't have the depth, the size, the ability at any position. I mean, you name it, Dave. The interior, the linebacker room, Jesus. The cornerbacks, Jesus. Like, the only thing we hit on was safety, and Tafik Byard hopefully is coming back and being a part of the rebuild. I have a feeling he will, just because that dude is just he is
dude, I love
blood, sweat, and tears.
He's got to stay.
I hope so. But I have a feeling that the defense is going to be completely rebuilt for next year. And then can we at least plug what we're losing on the offensive line to give Julian Lewis at least a semblance of the offensive line that we had this year?
Yes.
At least a semblance of that line. I hope that's the case, but
it's going to be like our 4th straight year with a new center, man. That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy business that we're not getting something better there.
Yeah. So, we got to replace 2 offensive linemen. And hey, I think we've seen this over 3 years. We brought in kind of one guy that I think was a decent investment, Nikai Hill-Green, but he was coming up from Charlotte. Can we invest in like real quality linebackers this next year, man? If we can get some great linebackers, man, I think that could really, really change like the whole dynamic of the defense and kind of make everybody look a little bit better. So again, I think Prime needs to have new talent evaluation process. Like he needs to hire new guys to do this. But again, I also think if there's a little bit more autonomy given to Robert Livingston on how the defense is run, it can't get any worse than what we saw this year. I don't believe that. So yes, let's build a really good defense that can help out a quarterback, and hopefully, man, even we're not bringing in a ton of transfers with the skill positions, which I don't think we need a ton of. You bring in an offensive coordinator who is allowed to instill their offense and like their methodology behind things, man. We struggled with an identity all year long. So the offensive coordinator hire, I think, is the most important this year. No doubt about it. And if it's going to be another lame hire like Pat Shurmur, we're in trouble. But I do not believe that that's the case. Call it hopium, whatever. But guys, I think we're going to have an offensive coordinator worth a damn on this staff this year. That is my hope. Oh God, I hope so. That's my hope. We get one.
I agree. I hope that Coach Prime has learned. I hope, he has some people speaking in his ear, talking about what he needs to bring in. I hope to the Lord above, we get your prototypical, quintessential college OC. Now, I started putting together a list of guys. I've been just throwing random names in Google. I've been using a little bit of AI to find out more about potential up and coming coaches that have been fired recently, just trying to find names. My biggest thing, Dave, is I just have a feeling it's going to be somebody we're not even thinking about, whether it's somebody that we didn't even realize was out there and available, maybe taking time off, maybe away from the game for a bit, whatever it may be. I have no idea. I mean, going through the names, there's nobody that just sticks out.
That's the fun of being a fan, Russ.
That is. We get to speculate.
You can think about whatever you want to think about. Okay?
That's right. I mean, this one comes up a lot, Dave. You talked about it in a video. I've talked about it. My only problem with Chip Kelly is he is not a recruiter. He's a great offensive coordinator. He's a great college coach, but he does not like to recruit. And as everybody wants to mention in the chat, until the cows come home, the Coach Prime will not go into the living room of a kid and they hate it or you like it or whatever. I don't care what your opinion is. Adding Chip Kelly would be difficult because of that fact. You're not going to get any help on the recruiting front, right, Dave? I mean, what are your thoughts on a Chip Kelly?
This is interesting because, yes, in my mind, with looking at what is normally success, Peter, what is going on, dude? I thought you died. I thought you've been dead. You're back. You're back alive, baby, after 3-9. Let's go. Okay. But with how normally college football teams are built, it's like, yeah, you need recruiters. But, dude, at this point, I just wonder if it's like, screw it. We're just going to go all in on the portal every year. We're just going to hire a bunch of assistants that, man, they don't care about high school recruiting, man. But I think Chip Kelly's, he could help evaluate talent a little bit better. He could help instill a scheme. So from that point, we might be able to get more out of our offense and get more out of the portal in terms of the right talent, the right fit, everything like that. And you know what? Pat Shurmur wasn't doing much of that either. So, and even if he was on the road, you're talking to Pat Shurmur. Who cares? We got 10 high school commits every year. So maybe you just lean into making sure you're extracting as much value as possible out of the portal. You can sell me on Chip Kelly with that sort of perspective. I got it. Now, the other thing I do wonder, though, and this is getting back to Las Vegas. This is all speculation. I don't know what's the truth or not. Is Chip Kelly the reason why they passed on Shedeur out there in Las Vegas during the draft? Coach Prime is not bringing in Chip Kelly if he was the one pounding the table to not draft Shedeur.
That would be an interesting thing as a part of that. Absolutely. I've heard the rumors about Chip Kelly back to Ohio State. This person's saying they're not getting rid of Hartline. They're not getting rid of Hartline. Do you know what they could be doing and why the rumors are out there? Is because Hartline might be in line for a promotion, might be in line for one of these head coaching jobs that is available. That's the reason that Chip Kelly is rumored to OSU. So that absolutely could be a reunion for him. And I agree with you, Dave. Something happened there in Vegas. Something wasn't right. I don't know what Prime's relationship is with Chip Kelly, whether there is anything. So I don't know. That one seems to me, Dave, that was like when we were looking at the defensive coordinator last year and we were bringing up all these big time names. And then who do we end up with? Robert Livingston out of nowhere. I think it's going to be something similar to that, where it's not somebody that's that massive of a name. I'd prefer, somebody from the lower levels. I threw out some names that came up, when I was looking. I mean, the biggest one, I think he's going to be the hottest name out there, but with his head coach being named the coach at OSU, right? The North Texas coach, Eric Morris, Jordan Davis might just be ending up at OSU with his head coach, Eric Morris. That only makes sense. He was I think he was the hottest OC on the market this upcoming, period. Any other names that you've heard, Dave, or thought of or looked at or even, come to mind right now?
No, I think the one thing that I don't want, again, you can sell me on Chip Kelly. Like, he might not be my first choice, but hey, he can run an offense and he can evaluate college talent. So that is better than what we've gotten. You can sell me on Chip Kelly. Okay. Even if he doesn't check all the boxes for what I ideally want.
Yeah.
The only thing that I do not want is somebody who has been out of the game. Somebody who's been out the game.
An old man that's been out of the game that's not connected.
Or honestly, or even if he is hired, I will flip. I know I'll try and find the positives out of it, but I do have concern about hiring somebody who's just been out of the game like Byron Leftwich, man. I ideally want to have somebody, if they're not Chip Kelly, that's proven like crazy out in running college offenses, bring in somebody who's hella hungry, like Robert Livingston, was for this. We need more hunger and desperation from this staff when it comes to advancing. So a younger, innovative guy who isn't looking at this as a post-retirement gig, that would be awesome.
I would agree with you there, Dave. I don't think everyone wants to bring up Byron Leftwich whenever they do. I mean, the guy was supposed to be on staff this year and ended up not. When he was here, it was like I know it was obvious that he just didn't seem like he wanted to be here. The guy wants to be in the NFL coaching. He does not want to be in college coaching. Do you think he wants to recruit? I need an OC that's willing to recruit. Okay, not just high schoolers, but also transfer players. They need to be involved in all that. There's a different thing with being an OC in college than an OC in the NFL. That's just the case. Pat Shurmur was exactly that. Byron Leftwich would be exactly that. I need somebody who has, been in the trenches, I love this. Like, Northside, you're thinking properly here. Go find an up-and-coming FCS coach that has been in the trenches, has been in the thick of it, has ridden the bus, has been into recruits' homes and wants to, become a better coach. Like, those are the kind of guys that I want to see get an opportunity here at Colorado. John brought up a good point when it came to Chip Kelly with the super chat. I did want to throw that out there. Chip isn't great at evaluating talent. You will remind him he did trade LaShawn McCoy for Kiko Alonso.
Dave. Oh, dude, come on, John, dude. We're not talking about the NFL. That's another beast. It's like, Nick Saban was terrible in the NFL too, dude. But I understand where you're coming from. But at the end of the day, hey, Ohio State loaded or whatever. Hey, you still got to finish the job. And there's a lot of schools loaded with talent that don't. Chip Kelly can coach an offense, man. He can coach an offense. He can run an offense at the college level.
At the college level is the key. He can. He absolutely can. He has, I think what we've realized is Chip Kelly is an OC. That is his job. And he is an OC in college. Every time he's been an OC in college, he has brought success. When he's been a head coach in college, he's had up and down moments. When he's been an OC in the NFL, obviously pure failure. Head coach of the NFL, way pure failure. Definitely not cut out for that. I think he's figuring out what his bread and butter is, and I think the world is seeing that as well. So I could see that. But I also, I want to see guys who are going to be willing to recruit. And I think, I think an FCS up-and-coming OC that's creative, that might bring something to the table. The other guy I brought up, Dave, that I, talked about a little bit, I don't know what that deal would be, but like the head coach at UNLV that does the go-go offense there, that.
Well,
ChatGPT brought up,
they
what has he brought up?
Coach this year. It was the old coach at Florida. Oh, what's
UNLV coach football?
Dan Mullen.
Oh yeah, it is Dan Mullen. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Dan Mullen. Know, I don't know if that'd be a promotion for him or a demotion. I have no idea with what's going on there. That was the name that came up. There's a lot of stuff out there that we could go over. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be just somebody we're not even thinking about when we're really honest.
Oh, I mean, it's college football, man. There are a ton of names, but I will say this, man. Again, I'm biased, now living in San Antonio, Texas, but UTSA puts up a lot of points, man, and
True.
they have, they've done a good job with Owen McCown out there. So whether it's, I don't even know who's calling plays for him. Whether that's Justin Burke, I think the offensive coordinator there. Maybe you gotta look at him, because I think Jeff Traylor is going to stay there as head coach of UTSA. But yeah, that's something to. Man, I just want to see a good product on offense, man. That has to
all
be
we want to see.
priority numero uno is just getting an offense that Julian Lewis can be successful in.
Yeah, we understand. Sean Lewis was supposed to be that. He was supposed to be that up and coming OC that head coach from a lower program that came in, got to be in the spotlight, got to do the offense, got to play with toys like Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. It didn't work out for whatever reason. Guys, we can speculate all we want again with that, because I know people are pissed off. They're like, why didn't we just keep Sean Lewis? I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we didn't keep Sean Lewis. Okay, but I get it. I would like a hire like that, though.
Yeah. They just weren't on the same page, dude. And it's like, why did you hire him if you weren't going to be on the same page? I don't even know. But it was clear there was just a difference of philosophy with how they wanted to play offense. Coach Prime needs to be aligned on this. Now, the concerning thing is that it seems like he was very aligned with Pat Shurmur. So, man, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, though. And here's the thing, Dave. I mean, all this has to happen quick. Look at what we're having. Look at what we're seeing in college football right now this week. Like, look at how many head coaches were already named this week. Again, this goes back to what I talked about earlier in the season when the first shot got fired, so to speak, when Penn State fired James Franklin. With the way that college football is shaped now, at least for this offseason, I'm sure it'll change by next offseason with how it keeps changing. But one portal, before the national championship, you're going to have guys who have to be named to these positions quick. They have to be named to these positions quick so that they can get movement and get the team ready. I guarantee you that we are going to see some very, very fast movement in the next week. I'm sure that right now, as we speak, Coach Prime is making decisions. That's why I said this game this weekend is going to be completely pointless, because the team has definitely behind the scenes moved on. The red shirting of Juju Lewis was the sign that they have moved on.
It was the white flag.
It is. It is literally like, okay, guys, reset. Here's what's happening. I'm going to talk about it in my presser this week. It's going to move very quickly. I guarantee you the next 2 to 3 weeks, Dave, are going to be action-packed for us and for the fans. People need to stick around. They need to be subscribed to our channels, because it's going to get quite crazy here in the next week. Do you agree? Do you think that's going to happen very quickly with all of the movement we're seeing in college football right now?
That's my hope. To go dark side, Dave, it seems like we never do things at the same timing as everybody else, and so we'll probably find these things out late. But man, I just, I hope with the season ending that there is just a new way that, we start to go about things, man. Announce an offensive coordinator hire before the portal opens. Please, God. Please, God. Announce all these assistants gone. They're going on to greener pastures. Please, Lord. Man, I want to have a celebration, man, for some of these coaches being gone. That's just how I'm going to handle it on my channel. I know some people might be upset about that, but hey, man, it's just part of being a fan, dude. When you suck, you want people to go.
This name is interesting because we talked about this in the offseason, because he came in and did some coaching training with Coach Prime and stuff. I don't know if you guys have been following the news, but Josh Niblett is a high school coach out of Georgia right now. I believe his team was the one that had to forfeit this week. They had to forfeit their games because he had some crazy, ridiculous high number of ineligible players that played. It hit the rock the world. He would make sense as a guy that could be brought in as as a guy moving to the next level. He's been
You know,
around
I
football
like
a long
that kind of
time.
attitude.
He's been around football a long time. And with what just happened to him and how pissed off he is at high school football, I wonder if his connection to Coach Prime this offseason, if, all of that. I had mentioned in the offseason of him potentially being added to the staff as an analyst. I thought that looked like it was happening. He had a one-on-one meeting with Coach Prime that they showed on Well Off. They featured him heavily. Maybe this is a name to watch out for after everything that just transpired this week. Now that when I saw that pop up, I immediately said, I wonder if now he'd be looking to jump ship from the high school ranks and try and go to the next. But hey, that could be another place you start looking for this. Are there some really good high school coaches out there looking to make that next step, that next jump up? I don't know if they're DC or OC material just yet. That's quite a jump. But could they definitely be a position coach? Could they be, a quarterback's coach, a defensive line coach? I have no idea. I'm just very interested to see what would happen.
I'm curious what your thoughts are on now that he's gotten a lot more coaching experience. Was here as like he was calling plays for 1 year, but having a lot of success. Won the national title at the JUCO level, or maybe it was the California title. I can't remember, but JUCO title. I think he went undefeated last year at the D2 level. I'm trying to remember. I could be screwing up those details. Darren Cheverini, dude.
Yeah. Somebody brought that up. I mean, the connection to Colorado is there. His passion for CU history and lore.
The first Buffalo Heart Award winner in 1998. Obviously, he loves CU.
I mean, he is. He's CU, and he has been commenting. Well, but that's where I think the problem is, Dave. I mean, he's been pretty outspoken about what's going on at CU right now. He's kind of on the side. Yeah, he's kind of on the side of Matt McChesney and the old guard. How they're saying, Prime is not living up to the history and culture of the Buffs. He's said a few things about it and just said how he doesn't like how it's being treated. With him being outspoken, I don't know if that kind of stops him in his tracks from being a potential.
I would hate for that to limit Prime's scope. I hate that.
I would too, because here's the thing, maybe Cheverini is a future head coach in the future.
Man, you don't understand the miracle Chev did after keeping that entire recruiting class together after Mel Tucker left, dude. He kept everybody locked in. Locked in, man.
I mean, if we're talking next year and Prime isn't around, he might be a guy to watch out for as a potential head coach. I hope
that Andre Girard sticks around. He's our one kind of legacy buff on the staff, and I do think that's.
I do, and I hope the Prime gives him a little bit more autonomy. It just seems like he isn't. Because,
well, Gunnar White's calling the shots, yeah.
I know. Girard has the connections. Girard has the legacy buff to him. Girard knows what he could do. I'm just wondering if he's being a little hamstrung from being allowed to do anything he said. Yeah, here it is. Lexus found it. Gainesville High School wins injunction against GSA. All suspensions lifted against their players. Okay. So I guess they went back on it. Is that what happened?
Amazing.
I mean, it's crazy. High school drama, man. High school drama. 4 players reinstated after appeal from fight with Brunswick 1 day ago. So it looks like, they sued. They sued Georgia Athletics literally 5 hours ago. I see a headline about that. They are suing to get their. It's crazy stuff over there. So you know what? I mean, maybe Niblett might be a good idea. Maybe he's ready to say, "I'm done with this high school, BS and ready to go." I don't know what's going on, but it's going to be interesting. We got a lot of time to speculate, Dave. We got a lot of time to speculate when it comes to what's going to happen here in the next couple of weeks.
It is going to be entertaining, man. This is a game against Kansas State. It might be, it might not be, man. It might not be. Should I give you my score prediction right now?
Go for it, Dave. Let's just jump into it. I know Lexus, I think, said, you're saying that this game doesn't matter? I mean, it doesn't matter to either team.
It would feel amazing. Actually, it does matter to Kansas State because they are playing for bowl eligibility.
Oh, they still up for bowl eligibility at this point? Oh,
yes,
that's
they have
right.
5
Okay.
wins
So we
coming
could
into this game.
spoil it in a game that would be pointless to us, which would be pretty embarrassing. That could probably put the nail in the coffin for the head coach at Kansas State, you would have to think.
Yeah, you would love to think that our team could show up and play spoiler on it, right? But I just do not see that with Caden Salter.
Zach saying CU's going to win 62-13.
Oh, 62
I'm going to
assume. 13?
I'm going to assume that's what he's saying here.
Dude, no, because I got KSU winning 55-21. That's
55-21. Buddy, 70-0 K-State. We're gonna get nothing out of K-Salt. Here's the thing, Dave.
I think we drop a 50 burger on them, and not in a good way, man. I just got no hope, dude. When I heard that Kane Salter was, you're not gonna rally any of troops. If Ryan Staub or Dominique Ponder was playing,
absolutely,
he could get
that, dude. Yeah,
I could get up for that, man. But man, dude, just. I got no hope.
Here's what I think is going to happen, Dave, and you tell me if you're excited for this. I think K-Salt's going to play. He's going to probably have his best college game of his career just to spite us.
Because there's no pressure. There's no pressure.
To all of the K-Salt fans out there, they'll get to say, well, this whole season was ruined because Caden Salter was not the quarterback. Okay? Because Caden Salter was not the quarterback. This whole season was ruined. It was horrible. K-Salt's going to all of a sudden have his best game just to spite everybody. And so that all the little K-Salt fans can come out and say that the only reason that this season went bad was because K-Salt was not the all-time starter the whole season. I just watch that happen. Watch that happen just to spite us. Doesn't mean it's true.
If you're going to play well, you better deliver us a win, dude. We can't. Dude, 3-9? No, man. If we could at least get back to 4-8, that at least gets us back to 2023. So, but
Lexus.
Oh, dude, that's crazy, man. Yeah, 62-13, man. They got bowl eligibility to play for. Again, this team just doesn't have killer instinct. So, hey, great game to put the walk-ons in, man. Great game to see what Ronald Coleman can do with more than one carry.
Hey, give me some Gage Goldberg at linebacker on Saturday, please. Because most of the guys who are redshirting, they can play in this game. It doesn't matter. If they haven't played enough games, they can still play. But trust me, DeProf, I've said all that stuff. Okay, I've said all of that stuff. When it comes to K-Salt, we joke about it because there's just, a certain section of the internet that might say that K-Salt is a Heisman level quarterback.
Well,
we're not one of them.
No, I did do that video at the beginning of the season talking about how it could happen, man. But
I know, but I'm saying
it could snow in July. There's a slight possibility that could happen eventually. It's just a bad take. Hopium. But Russ, I think I might stream a live reaction to this game just because it's going to be a tough game. Yeah, I think so. You're welcome to come on for as long as
I might have to, Dave. Just you know what? Let's get the booze out for Saturday. Let's have a boozy stream where we're just sloshed talking about the travesty.
What time's the game at?
It's 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. your time.
Yeah, so I might stream a little bit of it. It might make the experience more enjoyable. Again, when you trauma bond, that's a special experience.
Yeah, King. The only ball that Salter would be playing is in the NFL, and I'm sorry, I don't think anybody is seeing him as an NFL quarterback.
No. He's getting tape ready for honestly, this isn't a dig. I think he could play in the UFL or CFL. So if he goes out and has a good game, maybe this will help him do that.
I could see CFL. I could see Salter being a CFL quarterback. I could see that. I definitely could. Yeah.
Yeah. If Mark Vassett can get to the CFL, maybe Kane Salter can.
Yeah, no. Northside $1.99 should do a live dream staff chart. We could go crazy if we wanted to on a live dream staff chart. I could put together a crazy staff that probably would never happen, but hey, that's yeah. I've got some fun stories, but yes, 100% Juju is staying to Prof. I'm telling you, Juju is staying. I think that him redshirting is both him and the team doing right by each other and saying, hey, give us one more year to try and right this ship and show that we can at least get better.
Yeah.
And he's sticking around. And he will have a hand in who the OC is. I guarantee it.
At least he won't get hurt. At least he's going into the offseason healthy, man. Imagine if he had a broken hand or something like he did last offseason. So
that's true. That's true. No, he's not. Don't worry. Don't worry. He's not going anywhere. Yes. It is official, Lexus. It's been already posted. I think while we were streaming, there has been multiple NFL insiders, college insiders that have all posted the confirmation that on Monday morning, Marshall Faulk will be officially introduced as the head coach at Southern. So again, we wish Marshall Faulk the best of luck.
If you know what's good for you, you'll take Coach Hart, go coach those linebackers over at Southern.
Oh, this is crazy, Dave. Yeah, that Josh Niblett. They're appealing the ruling that happened, and now their game for this weekend is postponed until the ruling can be made. Like, this is some crazy high school football stuff happening right now in the world. It's kind of crazy.
That is, man. That's pretty fun. We have Johnny Mack. Yeah, dude. I mean, we got Johnny Mack. Nah, man, we'll bring in some more assistants. And it's not like we got any high school running backs we still need to keep their commitments for. So,
that's true too. Nobody
find the right coach.
Dave, maybe that's the one good thing that we have out of this is, we were all talking about how Marshall needed to go out and get some big time high school recruit. He tried, he didn't get anybody. Could you imagine if, with Marshall Faulk leaving, we'd be losing that running back right now, right before the national signing day. So at least we're not losing a running back in all this.
Yeah. Well, it's strangely enough, Russ, it was really sad starting this show, but, I actually am feeling more positive on the program after getting it all out, talking about it all. Things aren't great, but, we can get back to respectability, baby. We can do it. Will we? We'll find out.
We absolutely will find out, Dave. We will find out. And of course, hey, guys, hit the like button for both our channels. Follow both of us. We're getting up there. I finally hit the 5,800 mark.
Ooh,
been hovering around that for a while. We'll see how it does this off season if we can hit the 7,000 mark by next season.
7.
That's right, guys. We're gonna hit it. You got anything else to say, Dave, about what's going on, what your plans are? Obviously, you talked about maybe streaming Saturday during that wonderful game.
Yeah, the toilet bowl. You want to experience it with me? That will be fun. Yeah, we'll do that. What else? What else I got planned? I don't know. I still need to do video updating on where our recruiting is at from the visits last week. Spoiler, we got none of them yet. They've committed to other schools, but I'll still do a video on it. Dude, I posted a video on Victor Lincoln on Monday. They're like, dude, he already committed to Ole Miss. I'm like, dude, what did he even visit Ole Miss, dude? But again, man, dude,
it's going to be interesting. David, what I'm thinking about, I've been eyeing this the last week, and I've got to reach out to some people, and I want to know your thoughts. I was thinking it'd be fun to grab several content creators for the Buffs, and some bigger names, but maybe not the yes men content creators. No offense to them, but I know that they have close relationships with Prime, and they can't really say what they want to say. I wanted to do a State of the Union Buffs stream with a bunch of people where we all kind of comment on what's going on, how we're feeling, what needs to happen. I'd almost reach out to I don't know, Adam Munster Tiger, that group, you obviously, myself, trying to think
of William Gardner on there, dude.
Yeah, get William. He
did.
But that's what I love about Adam Munster Tiger. He takes his outlet that he's a part of does not have to necessarily speak to Prime. Unfortunately, and I've talked about this, Dave, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but DNVR, they are so ingrained in the CU atmosphere that I feel like they can't really say what they want to say when it comes to the streams because they got to kind of keep that relationship going. But But Adam Munster Tiger, he's not like that. He says what has to be said when he has to say it. Who's our other reporter? See if we can get like a Jack Carlo on it, maybe. Grab a couple of those people that are
Brian
willing to
Howell,
like say what needs to. Yes, Brian Howell. See if we could like try and do something. I don't know if you want to try and formulate something with me like that, but I thought it'd be something interesting like that.
It'd be a lot of fun, man.
It would be. I think it would be. You know,
it would be very interesting to see what. Man, I wish I had Alfred Williams' contact, man. He's my favorite buff of all time. I wish we could talk to Big Al, man. He's hard to get a hold of.
He is. I will tell you, as somebody who worked with him back in my radio days, the dude is elusive. He just kind of does his own thing. He just, shows up when he needed.
Have a cell phone? Like I really do wonder.
He didn't at the time. Like it was always a joke when he was on the air because he had like an original Twitter account that he never touched like ever again. And he just recently got it again. Like he didn't even know his password for the longest time. I'll tell you that the station like helped him manage that for him. That was a funny story. Dude's so smart and football savvy, but he doesn't really need, any of that. Like he does it all for fun. He does it all for fun.
Yeah.
Talking to a guy like CJ would be cool. I mean, he's been around for a long time. It'd just be interesting to get a bunch of people on that have been, following the team this whole year and see what's going on.
Russ, I forgot to say, in terms of dream hires for OC, there's one guy that I would be okay with. Absolutely no.
This could be how we're ending this off.
No experience at all.
David, you want to be the OC.
You could sell me on it. No. I like being the guy who celebrates when things are good and complains when things are bad. That's where I'm at my best. Cordell Stewart.
Ooh, and he's been trying to get into coaching. Dave, he's been trying to get into coaching. We know that his name came up in the CSU search and he has an agent. So he's obviously looking to get in coaching. Could he be a part of this program?
A quarterback, dude. Quarterbacks can install offenses. They think about the games the right way. And, he's a smart guy, dude. I mean, this ain't like Paxton Lynch, 12 play Paxton Lynch coming out here, man. This is Cordell Stewart coaching and running the offense. That would be interesting. Because even though he doesn't have direct experience, he knows how the operation should look. He knows what you got to do to win games, right? I'm sure he has a philosophy that he would want to play with. Maybe I'll do a video on that, man. That's the one outside of the box hire, no coaching experience guy that I would be pretty pumped up for. That would be fun to watch. And, hey, I think it could hit like magic, baby. So, hey, if we're already going to risk it on the portal, you might as well already bring in Cordell Stewart. He's already got a relationship with Julian Lewis, obviously connected to the program, legacy buff. There would be a lot to sell me on with that.
Yeah, no, it's true. Real quick, Dave, we didn't really chat about this. Little brother making a hire of Jim Mora. I will give it to this. I think that is, as a lot of people on Twitter said, they thought that was a demotion. But the fact is that Jim Mora wanted to be out west. He has ties to Colorado, the state, in the past. The word was he's been trying to get back out this direction, which is why he took that coaching job over the UConn rebuild that he's been doing and working really well. A lot of people are like, it's either a lateral move or a horizontal move. So in my estimate,
UConn play FCS?
I don't think they do. Do they?
Because I know they're like in basketball, like that's their thing. But
no, NCAA Division I Bull subdivision. Yeah, subdivision. I guess you're right. It is FCS.
Yeah. So, yeah, UConn, dude, they're a great basketball program. This is an FCS football program, dude. Now he's going to the G6.
Yeah. No, either way, though, I'm saying it is a good hire. I think it is. I think it's a great hire for them. I can't believe they got such a high profile name, if we're being honest, because of, what his past connections are. Now we'll see. Can he, work his magic there at CSU and get them back to relevance here in the next several years? Be very interesting.
I'll give CSU credit for this, dude. They they have been hella aggressive, dude. Because when they bought him out and then they hired Jay Norvell, they poached him from another school and conference at Nevada, dude. Like, that was a big move that they went and did. Bought out his contract, brought him to CSU. It just didn't work out. So, hey, good for them on taking another big swing at it, man. Eventually, you'll hit it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a big swing. We can give props where props due. I think that was a very big hire. I did not think that they were going to get as good of a coach out of this.
It's going to be fun to watch, dude. Again, I hate CSU when we play them, but outside of that, I do like rooting for them as a little brother. I do root for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And here's the thing. I think overall, with this comment, like Hayes Fawcett talking about dominoes, I told you guys, this coaching thing is going to have to go quick. If a team waits longer than a week to name their head coach, they are going to be behind big time. They are going to be, I mean, look at some of the coaches. Like, you've got the North Texas head coach getting poached this quickly and being announced to Oklahoma State, and his team is still in a playoff hunt. Like, they're still in a playoff hunt from where they're at with a potential. I mean, they're a ranked team, and now they have their coach leaving in the middle of that run. It sucks. It's stupid, but the way that the schedule works out, he has to do it. Otherwise, he is screwing himself over for next year. He's screwing himself over for his first year. So this is going to happen. This is going to happen very quickly with a lot of people. So be on the lookout, guys. It's about to get crazy.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. Russ, I'm sorry for keeping you so long, but
no,
this was a great show, dude.
Yeah.
Now I'm real excited, man. We'll get through Saturday, and then, hey, it's the off season, and that's time to it's glaze season, baby. It's time to make the most out of these moves, and hopefully they'll be good ones that we can be super optimistic about.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, appreciate it, Dave. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate all the people in the chat keeping us company, all 400 plus people that were watching the show today. We really appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. Don't worry, there's a bunch of people joining late to Dave's questions. Seaton's not guaranteed to leave. We're just having to re-recruit him is all that's been said out there.
The word might.
It's always going to be might at this point with college sports, guys. So the fact is that a lot of the young guys sound like they're coming back, and then CU's just going to have to re-recruit Seaton. What that means is just probably renegotiate a contract. And I assume Colorado will do it and match whatever he gets.
I pray to God. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Until next time, for the Buff Blitz, I'm Russ. He's Dave. As always, Sko Buffs.
Sko.